So it looks like stream is working, which is always a plus. All right, so as a recap, this is session 6 and part 3 of your investigations in New York City. Just as a high-level overview as to what has occurred so far. 4 years after Lima, Peru, you guys have all been called to New York City by your friend Jackson Elias. He was looking into an expedition called the Carlisle Expedition, which met a tragic fate in like 1920-ish in Africa. People were killed, tribesmen were brought to quote-unquote justice, and everybody seems to think that it is a past thing. Jackson apparently thinks otherwise. The expedition was led by a Robert Carlyle, and with his demise, his sister Erica now controls the estate, which is in Westchester, just like 30 miles outside New York. When you went to meet Elias, after he contacted Luther, sounding very scared and frightful, which was unlike him, you found that he had been brutally murdered with a grisly symbol carved into his forehead. There were some cultists still present. You gave chase, you killed one and subdued one, but one did get away. The police arrived on the scene. A Lieutenant Poole seems to be heading the investigation. And he seems to think that there is perhaps more going on than what meets the eye. He struck Evelyn and Luther as like an honest cop, somebody who has not yet been worn down by the system. In Elias's room, you found information that he was in contact with people near and far, including a letter from Cairo, a business card from England, a matchbook from Shanghai, a blurry photo of boats, a business card for an import business here in New York, a letter from Harvard University, and a playbill for a speaking engagement from a professor from Australia. You did find out that the murderers were armed with a fairly unique knife used by West African bush tribe. Dr. Carter managed to ascertain that the knife was not mass-produced, but not ancient. It's a newish weapon, but not mass-produced. Each of the murderers did have a sort of ceremonial head sash with a piece of red cloth attached to it. As you followed up those clues, talking to Lieutenant Poole, you found that Elias's murder is actually the 9th in a series that has spanned over the last 2 years. No connection between any of the victims, aside from the fact that all of them had frequented Harlem shortly before their disappearance and death, which is not surprising. Harlem is a bustling place of activity for the nightlife. There was a man named Hilton Adams who was arrested at the scene of the last murder before Elias, which was in October, so 4 months prior. He is currently on death's row. Lieutenant Poole and a reporter you spoke to named Rebecca Schauschenberg think there's a possibility that Adams might be innocent. The Twitch link, yeah, I can grab that for you. As you were investigating, you were led to a gentleman named Dr. Lemming, a folklorist and an eccentric who lives in a hotel in just off Park Avenue, so a fairly ritzy place. I managed to talk your way into meeting with him in his hoarder's abode, but he did manage to tell you that the symbol found carved in Elias's forehead belongs to an African death cult, a cult that was driven out of dynastic Egypt, so roughly 3000 BC. And he did point you towards a gentleman named Silas Nakwane, who runs an antique store called Juju House in Harlem. This place specializes in African material, and according to Dr. Lemming, Mr. Nakwane may be able to provide more information. Evelyn remembered that the name Silas Nakwane was written on the back of the Emerson Imports business card. You managed to speak with Professor Cowles after his lecture. No idea exactly why Elias might be interested in attending the lecture, but the lecture did deal with a dormant bat cult in the outback of Australia. Professor Cowles did infer that Elias's work on death cults, of which he's written several novels, was the impetus he had to look into this cult, and he's taken a position at Miskatonic University to try to raise money to return to Australia in the summer and hopefully excavate a thing. He did offer to summarize his lecture, but he quickly gauged that nobody seemed terribly interested in listening to his scholarly recitation. But he did show you photographic plates that showed carved stone monoliths in the Australian desert that he had gotten along with a diary from someone named McWhirr. Unfortunately, the diary he left back in Sydney. When you met with the reporter, with Rebecca, she provided a little bit more information on the murders, not a whole lot, but she did offer to try to set up a meeting with Hilton Adams's wife, Millie, and she will get back to you when she has done that. You called Sing Sing Prison and arranged a meeting with Hilton Adams on Monday the 19th. Today is currently Friday the 16th, so after the weekend. Part of the group, which was Dr. Carter, Salvatore, and Alvin, decided to go and check out Juju House. They met Mr. Nakwane, showed him the symbol, explained that they were investigating the murder of a friend. He was able to tell you that the symbol is that of a cult called the Bloody Tongue, a dangerous cult from Africa, but he had little more information aside from the fact that they are the name, the fact that they are from Africa, which matches up with the weapons, and that they are dangerous. Salvatore, however, noticed that from his reaction, he probably knows more than he is letting on. And that is where we left things off with Volador and Evelyn stayed behind at Dr. Lemming's as he continued to drone on and on about all avenues of folklore. Everything from Bigfoot to, the fact that maybe aliens built the pyramids to, Atlantis and Lemuria. Just a wide birth of knowledge. And he does tend to prattle a fair bit. But once Anita gets in, if Volador or Evelyn have any questions of him, they can certainly ask. Luther, since Tony couldn't be here last time, they decided that you would retire to the hotel to kind of catch some rest after the shock of seeing your friend murdered brutally. But they did leave you a note indicating where they were going.
Is there a game thing that matters if you lose one of your backgrounds?
Nope. We can replace it with something else.
Okay. So my significant person is dead.
Yeah. Basically what it means is usually with your backstory elements, whichever one is the most significant, whichever one is your key element, if you interact with that, you have a chance to gain sanity. So if your key background thing was Jackson, then you have lost the ability to regain sanity by hanging out with him.
Good thing it wasn't, and I hadn't chosen one. Probably should, though.
You should probably, yes, if you have not chosen which of your background elements is your key element, you should all do so. Because as your characters start to go insane and as things start to happen, your background elements can change. But The one that you say is your key element, I am not allowed to alter without giving you a chance to not lose it. So like if your key back thing is like if you feel super comfortable like in your office surrounded by your familiar things, I can't have your office blown up unless I give you a chance to intervene.
Alrighty. So Luther will follow the directions on his note and meet with Evelyn and uh, Valador. So at least we have 3 in each group, I guess.
Perfect.
You picked the right.
And it seems less risky. Meta no meta.
Yeah. It's less chance of us being assassinated and hanging out with the psycho. Or
Yeah, but there's books. You never know what's going to happen with books.
I know if you read them, you go crazy.
And you're staying in a room full of books.
I'm not going to read any of them.
Yeah, just don't open any and you'll be fine.
It's fine. This game.
I didn't become an actor, director, and professional wrestler by reading.
All right. So yes. So Dr. Lemming's address, it's the Murray Hill Hotel. It is East 40th Street and Park Avenue. And when Luther walks in, this place is lush. It's got like a marble-lined reception hall. The decor dates back to like the late 1880s or early 1880s. There is a clerk at the reception desk. There are like uniformed doormen. It is like exceedingly swanky.
Well,
So as you walk in your like your bomber jacket, the receptionist kind of looks at you. Can I help you?
yes, I'm with Miss Collins and Mr. Guerrero.
Miss Collins and Mr. Guerrero.
Big guy with a mask, hard to miss.
Oh, yes. Them. The
We made a great impression on.
It's a nice place you got here.
thank you. We do endeavor to provide comfort. Are you like Mr. Guerrero, famous but not here?
I'm here and not famous.
Ah, lovely. Ah. And he motions for one of the doormen. He's like, please take Mr.
Pratt.
Please take Mr. Pratt up to Dr. Lemming's. I will call to let him know that he has another visitor.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Enjoy your freedom. You're welcome.
Yes. So they escort you up to Dr. Lemming's room. And this very like disheveled looking gentleman in like a basically a bathrobe that kind of answers the door. You're a friend of Miss Collins and Mr. Guerrero, yes?
Yeah, and I was left instructions to come meet them here.
Oh, come in. We were having a lovely discussion regarding the possibility that the Bigfoot and the Yeti may in fact be related.
Really?
I've wrestled both of them.
As you can see, a fascinating discussion.
Quite fascinating, actually. I have a board back at my house that I've been tracking all sorts of things. We should talk.
Oh, perhaps. And as he leads you through this maze of like trinkets and oddities and newspaper clippings and books and like melee weaponry from different cultures, nothing is organized. But everything still seems to have its place. And there's
Is that a Morning Star?
Oh, yes. I picked that up when I was in England once.
Huh. Looks heavy.
It is apparently cursed.
Oh, well, we should leave it right there then.
It is best not to touch things.
Okay, it's good to know. Mr. Guerrero, good to see you again.
For you.
How you feeling? You
Oh,
any better?
it's as long as I don't laugh. Uh, it's you know, stomach wounds.
Yeah, I'll check it out after we get done here. Good thing is you got lots of stomach for for a little knife.
Yeah, it had to cut through quite a bit to reach anything vital.
I always knew that PT would get me someday. Maybe that's how it'll do it.
I was more worried about sepsis than it reaching my heart.
I should be fine then. Did you figure anything out while you were here talking to this gentleman that clearly knows a whole lot more than we do?
I'll kind of explain the recap about the name of the cult that everybody thinks it's long gone, but
Yes, ancient cult driven out of Egypt um, thousands of years ago, settled in western part of Africa, I believe.
Africa.
Yes.
Well,
we've had a delightful conversation and some really good tea. I wouldn't mind a cerveza, but this town.
Yes. Um, but yes, your other friends were here briefly, but they have gone on to speak with Mr. Nakwane.
Yeah, it's an antique store in Harlem.
Yes, fine purveyors of anything that you might need from the Dark Continent.
And Volador just kind of is a little where our host can't see him, but our characters can. I'll give them a little look. Maybe not.
we're gonna have to go to Africa. In Africa.
Oh, it's a lovely
Really,
continent.
we don't really have a lead on Africa. I mean, all we know is that the cult used to be there, right?
Yes.
We haven't had any. There's no evidence that that cult is still active there. In fact, the only place that we know that it would, if people are trying to be that cult, if it's active, it's in this city.
Well, all I know is these guys killed my friend, and I would like to have a conversation with them about that particular thing, right?
And I'll have your back.
You'd probably be doing a bit of the conversation.
I would enjoy that.
Right.
Unless Miss Collins has some more questions, I suppose we could meet up with the others.
Nothing comes to mind. But if you have a business card, I would gladly take it. There's so few people that I can discuss this sort of thing with.
Alas,
Do you have one of those charts at home too, with all the strings and push buttons?
No. I do have a very extensive diary, though.
Don't make fun of my board. I'm pretty sure the Bigfoot's in Canada.
Parts of Canada and parts of the northwestern United States in the forests.
Not in Mexico City, I can guarantee it.
I had once thought about arranging to go look for it, but unfortunately, I'm getting on in years.
Aren't we all?
I wrestled the Bigfoot. I wrestled Yeti, and I beat them both in mask versus mask contests. They were just fat Mexicans.
That is oddly fascinating.
It is, really. No, it's all way.
The look on Evelyn's face says she just thinks it's odd.
And he will then start to go into a description of like the purported strengths of the Bigfoot and the Yeti, and how some people think that they're just like bears and that sort of thing. All right.
Well, Miss Collins, are you ready to join our compatriots?
Mm-hmm. Providing they haven't gone into a utterly horrible part of the city.
Well, matter of fact,
Should be fine.
All right. So over at the Juju House
in the less reputable part of town,
in a less reputable part of town.
I would never.
so if I remember correctly, our good friend, the owner of the Juju House, who is older, who is hiding stuff from us and has told us about that the cult is bad people, was talking to our friend Salvatore. No,
He was talking to Dr. Carter.
oh, Dr.
I
Carter.
was speaking with him. He was telling me that he could make research for me to try to find more information, but Salvatore found out that he was probably hiding something that I did not get any clues on. And I might be putting my foot in my mouth at right this moment. And we left on his realization.
I think that's about right.
Perfect. So yes.
Except, I just want to add, we were not the only ones in the store, right? There was 2 other people in the store as well.
There are 2 other customers in the store. Yes.
And we and Alvin noticed that there was blood on one of the machetes on the wall.
Yes, very, very trace amounts.
I'll let Doctor continue his information extraction.
So yes, and this entire antique shop, it's tiny. It's like 20 feet by 25 feet, somewhere around there. But yes, Mr. Nakwane, and he's an older gentleman too. He's like in his early 70s, and kind of frail looking. He just kind of like reaches over to his chair and he pulls on like this kind of like a ceremonial ceremonial African blanket. Kind of like wraps it around his shoulders. It's like, it is. I am sorry to hear about your friend. But assured, if I do think of anything else that might help, I will send word to you.
Your help is very appreciated. I hope you never had trouble with those people.
No. Thankfully, no. The people in the neighborhood here, they keep an eye on the shop, if anything untoward were to happen. But thankfully, most people are happy to let an old man sell his wares in peace.
I was wondering, did you import anything for what's his name?
Mr. Elias?
I was thinking of Elias and the man working with the police. The eccentric we just
Booth?
the eccentric
Foot?
we
Oh, Dr. Lemming.
Dr. Lemon, yeah.
I don't believe I've ever met this Mr. Elias. I would have to check my records, of course. Memory's not what it used to be. But Dr. Lemming is a frequent purchaser.
I assume he was buying more than a wildebeest reproduction.
If I find pieces that I think may be of interest to him, he is near the top of my people to pay a visit to. He doesn't seem to have any particular interest. Just anything I find that may be something he doesn't already have.
Yeah, anything out of the ordinary. Because
Uh,
he mentioned your prowess, so I was curious.
yes. Well, I am merely the dealer. I receive my my imports through Emerson Imports.
Have you
Right.
received anything interesting over the last few days?
Uh, Everything is interesting to somebody. And he kind of like motions you over to like this display cabinet, and there's like these kind of like hand carved wooden instruments, like flutes and a hand carved drum and things of this nature.
Oh, these look pretty fancy. Where are they from?
These, I believe, and he kind of reaches down. And he takes out like a little book and kind of flips through some pages. It's like,
That's what I was hoping.
these are from Kenya.
Oh, interesting. Have you had anything similar like this arrive over the, I don't know, the last 3 months or so?
We frequently receive goods. Mr. Emerson has extensive contacts.
Right. I mean something like this. I'm hoping, Chris, the outcome I'm looking for is for him to. I think that that's like a ledger of some kind, and I'm hoping he starts flipping backwards to see if he would have received anything over the last 9 weeks of murders that would have
Uh,
triggered it or would have started.
Got you.
I'm hoping to see him flip.
Yeah, he does start to flip through his ledger. It's like, I received several drums that were purported to be war drums, but turned out to not be the case.
Oh, when was that?
Oh, that would have been. And he kind of flips. August of last year.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Where
but we do a fair amount of business, primarily in small bric-a-brac.
Chris, I want to lead this conversation somewhere. I'm not huge. I'm not. My character is good at fast talking, but not great at diplomacy or anything like that. So he's going to try to lead him astray to get him to talk about things in the store until we start closing to around the dates of the first murders. And that was,
Okay.
I know there were 9 murders, but it wasn't 9 weeks ago, right? It was nine.
No,
It
there
was
were
like 9 months ago.
the murders have happened over the last 2 years.
Okay, so 2 years. So a larger subset. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a long time.
it is. And he doesn't have records that go back that far. Like,
Okay,
this current ledger only covers probably the last 6 months.
perfect. Thank you.
Is there anything in particular that you were looking for while you were here, other than information?
Well, I am always curious for anything related to our case or anything of significance I could peruse.
Oh, sorry. Well, if I do think of anything else, where could I send a message to?
Okay. I will give him the address of the hotel where I rented 2 room, but it's not actually the hotel where I live.
Okay.
Uh, so I won't tell him that, but you can leave a message for me at the desk there.
Perfect. So, unless I'm mistaken, are you guys staying at the rooms at the Chelsea where Elias was, or are you guys staying at the hotel where you basically first landed?
The hotel I'm giving him is where Elias has been attacked.
Okay, so the one where you've got like room 406 and 408.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, perfect.
I'm not staying in those room, but I'm using those room as an address, so I don't put myself into danger.
A Dropbox. While they're having this discussion, I turn around to the shopkeeper, or Alvin turns around to the shopkeeper and points straight at that knife. He says, "This is fascinating. Where's this from?"
That is from one of the West African bush tribes.
Really? When
Yes.
do you get these by in bulk?
No, they come in from time to time.
Oh, they also from West Africa. They come in every like few months. So there's a bunch of them then. Why did you mount this one on the wall?
I have to have one on display.
Oh, are they of varying quality?
Some are older than others. Some of them have suffered misuse or suffered damage during the sea voyage.
How much does something like this go for?
Oh, something like that. Um, Give me one sec.
Chris, I'm leading him on. I want to get to a point where he offers me a price, and I say, okay, well, maybe like the next quality down. Can I see the other ones you have and see if I can identify blood on multiple of them, or if this one's been used specifically, or anything along those
Okay.
lines? If I can examine the bulk of them.
Okay. Unfortunately, currently, I do not have any others.
Oh,
They have found their way into various collections.
oh, well, that must be great. Like, I didn't know that West African tribe merchandise was so popular.
It is a growing concern, yes. But that one
If
I can let you have that for $5.
really, I look at I look at my companions. Do you think Volador would appreciate a gift?
Well, seeing the last event, I think this could become something that suit his fancy.
Salvatore, what do you think?
I don't know him well enough to know his tastes totally, but it's certainly it's certainly eccentric or different enough that it would at least keep his attention for a time.
That's a good point. I'll take it.
Oh,
Can we
excellent.
wrap it up, please?
Certainly. He kind of totters over it, and you see like one of the other shoppers looks like a little bit dejected, like he was like kind of thinking of
Eyeing
purchasing it,
it.
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, he takes it off and wraps it up very nicely, rings it up on this like newfangled cash
Now to
register.
confirm, Chris, this is if it's not, it's part of that same set. It's that same, maybe not the same set, but it's a similar style. Like it's totally an example of the weapon, right?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Perfect. He like wraps it up and says, "Thank you. If there is nothing else, I will be closing shortly."
I think
I
that wraps
think
up everything for me. Unless you boys have a question you want to ask.
Hey, Chris, in the last session when we talked a little bit about that cult, how much did Silas say? Because I didn't write too much down on that.
He basically he was able to give you the name of the cult, the Bloody Tongue, and that they are from Africa, and from what he has heard, they were very dangerous.
All right, then before we go, I'll say just a follow up to our earlier conversation. This cult of the bloody tongue. You wouldn't happen to have any trinkets or documents about them, would you? I find cultures that I know very little about to be very fascinating, including especially the dark and the macabre.
Uh, Unfortunately, I do not. I know little of them. They were eliminated a long time ago. Anything that they have would likely end up in a museum as opposed to a an antique store. I mean, if I can get in touch with you through your friend here, if anything should happen across my desk, I can certainly let you know.
That would be very wonderful. Thank you.
Of course. Um, any like specifically this cult, or if I should find anything related to the darker aspects of African history?
Um, a general, but this one sounds interesting. I'd like to start with admittedly a little I know about, but in general. But this one would be nice as well to know some specifics.
Of course, of course. And he does like jot down some notes.
I'd like to measure like maybe check his reactions to see if he's like, I don't know, sizing me up, or is he, you know,
Perfect.
you
Give
know.
me a psychology roll.
Chris, I find that fascinating in the system that you need to have a science to like have that social instinct on people.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's the difference.
Yep.
Yeah. Psychology is like reading people, and psychoanalysis is actually helping them.
Ah, thank you for the distinction.
Yep. All right. You're not sure, but you do notice, like, as he's writing down, like, he writes down like Dr. Carter's name, and then the room 408 Chelsea Hotel, and he does underline that, the address part, probably to help his 73-year-old memory. And he said, "What was your name, sir?"
It's Caputo, Salvatore Caputo, and I spell my name. It's Caputo.
T as in not
T as in uh, tiramisu.
Thank you. So yeah, you
Well-
see, like he didn't know if he said T or D, so he like kind of scratches up, spells it properly. Thank you. So if I should find anything, I assume you will be here in the city for long. Yes.
As it stands right now, yes, but you never know when business might take me out of town.
Excellent. Well, hopefully something comes up before you need to leave. And then he kind of like, after he like basically writes down the notes and gets the knife ready to go for Alvin. He kind of walks off and starts discussing with one of the other customers, trying to nudge him to like make a decision so he can close up shop.
Does he at any point enter his back store?
He does not.
Okay.
But everybody can give me spot hidden rolls.
I don't wanna. Difficult roll.
Okay. All right. Both of you, both Alvin and Dr. Carter, you do notice that behind this kind of curtain behind the counter, there is a door behind that curtain. Actually, Salvatore, you would notice that too. But Dr. Carter and Alvin, you both notice that as you're kind of like looking as he goes, so he goes over here to help this guy. Under the rug behind the counter, there's like a little, not even a little, there's like a definite, like raise, like a square raise underneath the rug. Looks like it's probably,
Trapdoor?
it's about the size of a trapdoor.
It's where someone would hide his shit. I think to myself as a PI. On a completely not relevant note, is there a reason that there's two Alvin Sharps, or that's just an error? Just want to make sure I'm not seeing double here for some reason.
I just see
Oh.
one.
It's because I was playing around with the lighting and I wanted to make sure I had the lighting all set up right.
Okay, it's all good. I just didn't. I wanted to make sure if I mean, this is the game where I could totally run into a doppelganger myself. So
It absolutely is. There's a spell for that called Consume Likeness.
Yeah, I'm passing that. Okay, so he's talking with his other people. I'm taking a look. I also take a look from the inside as I motion to the other guys to kind of like maybe leave, but I take a look while he's talking to the other patrons. What kind of lock system is here? Is it like just a straight up deadbolt, or is it like something fancier, something flimsier? Like,
No,
there's a lot of stuff in here, but I'm guessing that not a lot of it has a ton of value, street value. So I don't know how
Right.
paranoid he is at
right.
keeping the.
Yeah, most of the display cases and stuff don't have any locks at all. They're just like simple glass display cases.
But the front door, I mean.
And the front door is just like your standard, store bought lock. It's nothing fancy.
Okay. Okay.
But yes.
And
Oh, go
one
ahead.
last question. Does
Yep.
this place give the impression that beyond that door is like his bedroom and house? Because I know that a style at the time often was that you'd have a business and in the back would be your abode. Does this feel like it's that? Or does he
Uh,
go home?
More likely than not, that's what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
But yes, Silas does manage to convince the other two patrons to make a decision. And as you guys are leaving, we will say that a cab pulls up with Salvatore and Luther and Evelyn.
Fancy meeting you here.
We should probably get off the street.
Why?
Dirty cops. Um, it's nice to see you, by the way, Luther. Yeah, dirty cops. There's way too much left hanging in our conversation, I think. And anyone who has been ritually murdered over the last few whiles have been coming from this general vicinity. So call it an overabundance of caution.
Yeah, I've been stabbed enough lately.
Once you've been stabbed once.
How
It's
many
enough.
times do you want to be stabbed?
Yeah, exactly.
That's one more time than you probably want to be stabbed.
I mean,
Only fell
0
down the
times is
parking lot
enough.
once this month too, but how many times do you want to fall down the parking lot?
0 times is enough. 1 is more than enough.
One does seem sort of excessive.
Chris, how do we get out here? There's one cab here. The cab that we hailed is gone. I'm assuming this is not the most affluent side of town, so cabs don't just drive by.
Harlem in the 1920s is surprisingly affluent.
Oh, okay. Then
Like it is the center of like New York nightlife.
perfect.
Maybe we
Then-
should just mosey around a little bit, see if we can draw out an attacker.
Well, let's definitely find a place where we can sit down and talk. I say talk instead of have a drink, but I leave that subtext.
Oh, I'm sure there's a coffee shop here somewhere.
Yes, a coffee shop. Somewhere we can speak easily.
As Jaime's next character pulls away in the taxi he's driving.
How difficult would it be to find an underground speakeasy that'll sell us some alcohol and not ask too many questions, Chris?
It is not difficult at all.
Fantastic.
I'm very willing to take a place that serves food to justify it.
Yeah, absolutely. Did anyone ever end up reading that article about that rubber sandwich that I posted the other day?
I did. It's terrible.
Fascinating. So, Chris, I don't know if anything happens between here and where we're going, but
Nope, I'm just finding a speakeasy name.
so if we get there without any problem, I'll start the conversation when we sit down.
Yep.
While you look for appropriate map. So I think we should put our cards on the table here and share what we learned. Before that, I take out a large package. Volador, this is for you. It is not ironic. I think payback is in question, but one thing that I'm going to ask you before you put it away is that you look at it very carefully and tell me how familiar, if not identical, this feels. And I pass the bundle over.
All right, I'll
The game, is that the knife you saw
Yes.
some blood on last time? Okay.
All right. As far as a knife fighter goes, would that just be the brawl skill?
It is actually.
Okay, I got 50 in brawl and 55 with throw. So I'm probably pretty deadly with a knife.
Yeah, and it's well made, well balanced, very sharp.
Is it the one that stabbed me?
It is similar, but it is not the same knife.
Okay, that's what I was going for.
Right. Well, it's not an identical knife. I mean, is it identical model?
Yeah,
All right. So same style, same size, same make, little fresher, less human blood on it.
So it's not the same one.
Oh, you say less human blood.
Well, on the edge over here, you can see that there's kind of like that rusted look. That's not rust. That's what's left over of blood when it stays out of the body for too long.
I've been on a blade long enough, too long for it to clean off.
Yeah. This could just as well have been used to cut pigs' heads off, right? So I was curious to know if for someone who had been in contact with it, if they could recognize if it's the same blade or a different one. It seems to be a different blade. So I'm not giving Silas a pass at the moment, but it wasn't this.
Well, he
The rare
seemed
knife.
helpful. He seemed helpful, but he didn't have much to say.
Well, what else did you guys glean from it?
He knows
Well,
more about the cult than he let on.
you think so?
From looking at his mannerisms when it was brought up, yes.
Was he fearful? I didn't catch that.
he was not fearful. Salvatore, you
I
would
mean,
have picked up kind of as they ask about the cult and more specifically about Elias's murder, he kind of tenses a little bit, but it's nothing that you would regard as fearful.
What I got out of it was he just tensed up, and the feeling was that he knows exactly what that symbol is and what it means and what it represents.
oh, I did read the situation completely wrong. Good thing I didn't
Yes,
give
you
him.
did, Doctor, but that's all right.
Good thing I didn't give him my real address. How do we manage this?
Well, there's the other complication. You remember when we were walking in, right?
Yes,
The
the man
flat
in
foot.
white.
The
I
flat
think
foot.
so. Oh,
Yeah. The shoes he was wearing, that was a cop.
oh, I read that situation wrong too.
And that envelope he had that he was putting away, he just got paid off. Or he got his share of something.
Oh, okay. I'm really not the best with
Now,
people.
now I don't know New York a lot, but that can mean a lot of things. It could be he got paid off to look the other way. He could be paid off, to provide protection as a racket. He could have been paid off for lots of things.
I mean, we do know that a cops has been less than dutiful in closing that murder. He Somebody could have been paying someone else to make sure that they stop looking into that.
Look, I as much as I know that these flights of fancy are might lead somewhere, and I'm not saying it's not possible, but how about we don't automatically jump to the conclusion that this man who was tried and evidence came up against him and he was convicted for murder is automatically a cover up.
No,
People
you're
might
right.
people think that he's innocent. Great. There are people who've pulled triggers and other people swear they're nice people and they would never do something like that. Thus, they must be innocent. So I'm not saying if the entire concept is innocent until proven guilty. Well, this man was proven guilty.
Yeah,
It-
my point here is murder still did happen after he got arrested. So the fact that they closed the looking for criminals, I don't know
that
even if the rest of the cult was not arrested, is a bit sloppy, even if it's not a setup. But we
that's
can
not
always
sloppy. That is terrible, and I agree with you. That
I
is what we're
mean,
looking into.
we should always presume that stupidity and being incompetent is a more plausible answer than conspiration. I'm totally on board with that. It might just be sloppy work, but it's still sloppy work, and maybe someone was paid to just close something down. Maybe the guy in Sing Sing is guilty, but that doesn't
He's
mean
not
that.
the only one.
Yeah, exactly, because murder still happened, and there was more than one person doing the murders.
I agree with
Can
you.
I get a clarification?
Yeah,
Yes, sorry, Luther, you weren't there. So we found the reporter who was originally reporting on these deaths, and she linked them all together as much as the police wanted to keep it under wraps. Um, she has an inkling that there's more to this story and that she's convinced because of her conversations with not the widow, but the wife of the man who went down for the murders, that he's innocent. And
Okay.
Lieutenant Chris, I'm going to say Poole. Is that
Yep.
Lieutenant Poole? Lieutenant Poole said that these investigations were handled not by him, and not by another detective in another precinct, but by the captain of that precinct. And it's uncommon for a captain to get involved. And when the captain became involved, all of a sudden they found their prime suspect. They were able to find enough evidence, and he was tried and convicted very, very quickly afterwards.
Still don't care. You bought this
Un
knife from the place we were just at, right?
Juju house.
And that fellow in there knows something about this cult in Africa, is my understanding.
Yes.
And
But
these knives are hard to get.
relatively, but he has received multiple shipments over the last few years, he said, and they've all found their way into the hands of other people, have been resold multiple times. Now, if the man who was originally tried and convicted for this wasn't operating alone, he can point us to the other people who are involved, and we are meeting him on Monday.
Or, once it gets dark, we can kick down that door and go have a conversation with the guy that knows something about this cult. And before you argue with me, the last time you told me not to do something, my friend was beaten butchered while we were having this fucking argument. So shut your fucking mouth.
I am not saying that. I'm saying that the police were paid off, which might mean that there's additional eyes and or feet around that shop. So if we're going to do something like this, we have to tread exceedingly carefully.
Fair.
Incidentally, it is dark now. It's January in New York. It gets dark at like 4:30.
Yeah, but he's probably awake. So if we pick the lock and go in, is the difference between him having dinner and us stumbling on him, and him being asleep and us stumbling on him.
If he knows about this cult and he's selling those knives, he knows more stuff. Right? Isn't that what you were saying,
Salvatore.
Salvatore?
I believe he knows more about the cult than he let on.
Do you think he knows enough about the cult that when we left, he turned around and is going to go to that cult? In which case, should we follow him?
That I don't know. I just know that he was not being totally forthcoming.
I think we wreck his place. And if he's there, he gets to answer questions. And if he's not, we get to find something in there.
Wreck his place is fairly heavy. What if we get our hands on his ledger, which has a list of all the people he has sold items to and their names? And if we find another one of these weapons, we could trace it to the person who bought it, who is likely one step closer to the actual person who hurt or who killed Mr. Elias.
And Luther, you could watch Luther just chew. He's just chewing on what you just said, and you like his eyebrows kind of go into like this. I'm about to punch you in the mouth. Look to maybe that makes some sense. Look, I mean, he's not the smartest guy in the world, but you could read it really clearly.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And Alvin's going to press the point. I mean, wouldn't you rather a list of names of everyone who bought one of these knives?
You're the PI. We'll go in tonight. You find out what we need to find out. I want to know who killed my friend. Who killed my friend while we were discussing whether we should go into his room or not.
I think we'd all like to know that.
If this was a novel, it would say something. A dark cloud passes over Alvin's face as he hears those words. What did you guys find? Did you guys find any leads on your side?
Bigfoot's in Canada.
Do you think he's involved?
Doubt it.
No, I don't think so. I'd be shocked.
So anything else that we were able to find from our
Nothing
good doctor?
Nothing new from the moment you left.
Okay, let's finish up dinner here, and I'm going to need a few lookouts if we're going to try to take a look at that leisure.
No problem. I think I get the best eyes of us.
First, let me finish this hamburger.
All right. So the speakeasy you guys find yourselves at, it's a place called Fat Maybelle's. It's fairly sleazy, but it is relatively close to Juju House. On your convenient map of Harlem here, Fat Maybelle's. It's not letting me ping.
If I
wonder
ever
why.
walk by a place called Fat Maybelle's and they're selling burgers, I'm going in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was going to say the same thing.
There's nothing quite like a burger from a greasy spoon. So it's like a bona fide speakeasy, but it is in the basement of a coffee shop. The clientele is it's ethnically mixed, but the majority are, as you listen to the accent stuff, not just African American, but African immigrants, relatively recent. You can tell by the accents as you're listening. And as you know, the clock ticks kind of closer and closer to like 6 o'clock, like after people are done work and stuff, the place does start to fill up more and more.
Are we odd for this crowd? I mean, we're pretty eclectic on our own, but I mean, like, especially odd considering we're in Harlem and how you described it.
Most of you aren't. The giant guy wearing a mask tends to stand out. But other,
I turn to Volador and I say, that mask doesn't do a huge amount to make you less conspicuous as much as you'd think a mask would, you know?
I have a plan with that. And I go into the bathroom and making sure nobody's there. If I have to go into a stall, I'll go into a stall. I will take this mask off and put another mask on for the exact same design, except with different colors.
So much better.
Oh, now he's silver. Great. That's good. Yeah.
I thought you were just going to take it off and walk back out in the same exact suit.
Previously, it was like green, white, and red, Mexico colors. Now it's kind of like black with like black cloth with like matte leather trim.
In my mind's eye, I thought you were going in there and you were going to put like a Nixon mask over that mask kind of deal. So I'm like,
Would that be hilarious?
okay. I shake my head, put my head in my hands when you come back.
If
Okay.
we're gonna do this while he's gone, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna establish plausible deniability tonight again,
Fair. Very fair.
in case someone needs to bail you out should anything happen.
Chris,
Yes.
where's the Juju house compared to number 10 here?
That's a good question. Give me half a sec. West 137th.
It's fascinating this game is not specific.
Yeah. What I love is like how all the streets in New York are numbered. So it's like 137th is right before 138th and right after 136. So
Does
it
make
would
it
be
easier.
and Lennox Street. Perfect. So yeah, it's in that little Africa area. So
So super close.
it's like a block, 2 blocks away.
Great.
Right, guys. So here's what we're going to do. You guys are going to figure out how we can do this in a smart way. And I'm going to keep an eye on that door. And if you need me, I'm just going to be across the street. All right.
Fair. So, Chris, Luther's my
Why?
lookout.
Why are you going across the street?
Because if he leaves, I'd like to know where he's going.
Oh.
And that way I could
Are we
see
following
him and I
someone
can
right now?
see maybe.
Huh.
You want to
And
come with?
I'm gonna get
I've
a
never
bit
followed
further
anyone
away.
before. It's very exciting.
And if we're doing this, I'm gonna go a bit farther away. Probably order dinner, make myself seen, establish plausible deniability. If anything turns bad, I can bail you out.
Fantastic.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Because Tony, since you weren't here last time, Juju House. So the African Art Emporium. It's in a place called One Ransom Court, which is a cluttered alley. So basically, the alley goes back, and then it opens into a 20-foot square court. The only doors from the court are those of Juju House and the back door of an abandoned pawn shop. And then there's like tenement buildings and with people living in them. So basically it's like a little like a quad on a university or a court, and then inside the court is where the entrance to Juju House is.
Okay, so I'll probably kind of set up at the corner of the entrance to that court,
Okay, perfect.
which I get by your description will be I'm out of sight of the speakeasy, but
Yeah, basically the little court is between 137th and 138th Street.
okay, so I'll kind of like hereish.
Yeah.
And if Miss Collins would like to join me, then she's more than welcome.
Certainly. I've never done this sort of thing before.
You
It's
do
very
need an
exciting.
escort.
I very much do need an escort, yes.
And while we're keeping an eye out, these guys are going to figure out how we can do this. And if they don't get it done in long enough, we'll just do it ourselves.
So, Chris, once everyone is in position, I'm going to make sure that there are no people that, as far as I can tell, that are looking in. And I am going to try to pick that simple lock. I
Okay.
have an idea of where, because he went to go look for the ledger and he pulled it out. My goal is to get in, get that ledger, and get out. My goal is to, he might think that he lost it somewhere, which is fine.
Okay, perfect. All right.
You want me to go with you? Or do you want to avoid standing next to the big guy with the black mask on?
That's the whole point. You are standing somewhere obvious and far away from me, so people pay
All right.
attention to you.
All right. So Dr. Carter is just gonna go around to a few places. I mean, you're not far from the Cotton Club, which is like a famous music venue.
Yes, I want to be somewhere where people can attest I was there, having a lunch and listening to music or something like that.
Perfect.
I want to establish.
Coward.
Okay.
Also,
Um,
yes.
So the Cotton Club is right there, number 8 on the
Great.
Harlem map. Um,
I'm also going to go to the Cotton Club.
Perfect. So the Cotton Club. I mean, it is when you think of like a 1920s jazz club, that is what the Cotton Club is.
Amazing.
Like the white jacketed waiters, the big band playing. I can't
Cigarette
remember.
girls.
Yeah, I can't remember who would have been playing in the 1920s, but because I think 1920s predates Cab Calloway. But you guys have seen enough movies, you know the general vibe of the place, and it is very easy to make yourself noticeable there. And there's like photographers for the newspaper trying to catch like somebody that might be famous there, so it's very easy to end up in the newspapers as well. So all kinds of ways to get plausible deniability for sure.
Great.
It would be Duke Ellington, Fletcher Henderson, Louis Armstrong in New York, and
Oh
around
yeah,
this year.
yeah, cool. Yeah, maybe Louis is playing. Maybe Satchmo is playing. That'd be awesome. Luther and Evelyn, as you guys kind of set up like your little stakeout.
Might want to wait just a second. I don't think Tony's at his keyboard.
Oh, okay.
I'm being escorted into crime,
There you go.
into trouble. I'm pretty sure escorts are supposed to keep a lady out of trouble. Nope, not mine. Takes me to a hotel so we can get kicked out. Takes me on
Not
a
to mention the
B&E.
murders.
Takes me on a murders rampage. Yeah, that's great. Tell you this, having an escort, it is all
Not
it's
what you
cracked to
expected.
be.
If you two survive if you two survive this campaign, maybe you'll get married or something.
You'll get something, that's for sure.
It'd be kind of like a Romancing the Stone kind
Insane.
of vibe.
That's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get insane.
Together, though.
He's gonna keep reading books and looking at things.
It's the essence of a partnership. Going insane together.
That's right. It's the whole
Nothing-
opposites attract thing, right?
Nothing brings people together like shared trauma.
That's unfortunately true.
Yeah. It's like Indy and Marion.
I was gonna say when you said like a 1920s like I kept thinking of that scene where in the opening scene in Indiana Jones 2 where they drop the diamond and she's like singing
Yep.
on stage. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's like 100% what the club is like.
And while I'm getting seen, I'm keeping an ear out in case I hear like police sirens or something. I assume they're a thing at this time.
They are, yes.
Okay, good.
All
So
right.
I'm just
Looks like Luther's back.
Perfect. Yeah, kind of. So getting a seat, kind of like near the door or window, so you can keep an ear open.
Yep. That's what I had in mind.
All right. So Luther and Evelyn, as you guys kind of take up your stakeout position, you do notice that there are a couple of people like in the little quad area, in the open courtyard. Your guess would be winos, but you can both give me spot hidden rolls.
What?
Come on, what's the worst you'd see?
They aren't arms; they're tentacles.
I could tell.
Why
some
did you
stuff.
ask?
Yeah.
All right. So there's three winos in the courtyard, kind of like passing their bottle back and forth. Brown paper wrapped bottle. Luther, you notice that one of them kind of like haphazardly like didn't quite tuck it all the way into his winter jacket. A little flap of red fabric looks similar to the headbands that the cultists had that were in the hotel.
Does he seem connected with the other three, or
He is of the three. One of them has the thing hanging out of his pocket.
so? To clarify, do I know it's only one of the four, or
There's three.
sorry, one of the three, or do I suspect that perhaps all three of them could be?
Since you actually got a hard success, they are not drunk.
Okay. Oh, Miss Collins, this is going to
And-
be interesting.
Both of you can give me stealth rolls.
Interesting. Aren't escorts supposed to keep you out of trouble? Did I miss something somewhere? Because I am quite certain that's what we were taught in etiquette class. You wanted which roll, Chris?
Stealth.
Stealth. Oh dear. No.
All right.
I'll spend 5 luck on that, unless it's a group roll.
Nope. Actually, it would be a group roll, so whoever has the lowest stealth would be the one who has to make the roll.
Okay.
So,
My stealth is 20.
yep, both of you are 20.
was fine.
So Luther, you can spend the luck.
I'll spend the luck. Not that I have much to spend, but
All right. So as you guys are looking, and Luther, you're like, okay, that one, he's got the headband that the cult had. Those three. I mean, they're passing the bottle around and they're acting drunk, but they're not. I mean, you're a fighter pilot. You've been around drunks.
oh, for sure.
They're doing a pretty
And
good.
when they look over in our direction, we'll do the cheesy like 1960s grab her around the shoulders and give her a big kiss thing.
Okay.
As the distraction.
Perfect. And as you do so, a group
Kind of one eye looking over the shoulder.
of 6 individuals kind of like just walk past you into the alley right up to the door of Juju's.
Oh, start looking for Alvin.
Okay.
Evelyn's gonna pull back, put both hands on his chest, and look at him shocked. I don't think this is including an escorting. Or not this.
One second. I'll explain. Come around the corner. Come around the corner. Look for Alvin. Find Alvin.
Perfect. So yeah, Alvin and Volador, you guys can, as you're making your way to enact your plan.
There's 9 people there. Like, obviously, the plan is not happening if there's 6 people in front of the Juju house and 3 drunks on its side.
Just before Luther and Evelyn kind of pull back, you do see them, like, they stop and the door opens and they enter, the 6 of them. The 3 are still outside, but there's at least 6 inside, plus somebody who opened the door for them.
If Luther can see Alvin, he gives that little cut across the throat, like abort, abort, abort.
Yeah. I'm going to be talking with my friend Volador loudly. And just so, not too loudly so it carries too much, but just enough so Luther can hear. Oh, yeah, I hear that the Cotton Club is hot this time of night. We should go there. It's not too far away. And I start heading in that direction.
Okay.
Always wanted to go there. That's both in character and from Trevor.
It's one of those places, like, if you ever had the opportunity, why wouldn't you go?
Yeah, like CBGB's. Yeah.
Like
There's lots of places I want to go in New York.
Exactly. Although CBGB's
Chris.
closed, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it,
Sorry, when I see these guys come in, do I notice anything about them? Because I was fixated going to the door, and these people suddenly show up. Other than the person opening, is I'm assuming that's Silas. But do I get anything from these 6 other people? Are they like tall, short, skinny, fat? Are they all? They're dressed like cops. Like, who are these people?
Judging from their clothing, I mean, it's hard to tell because it's January in New York. Everybody's bundled up.
Sure.
But They none of them look well to do or anything. None of them wearing like brand new coats or anything like that. So you would guess probably middle class individuals, mix of ethnicities, um, but nothing that really strikes out on cursory glance. Nothing that really strikes you as being out of the ordinary.
Okay. And as we're going, are the lights on in the store?
They are. And as you guys start to kind of pull back and head towards the Cotton Club, you do see a couple of more groups converging on that area.
The fuck is
Like
going on?
groups of one group of like 3 people, one group of 4 or 5.
Like a congregation of some kind. There's enough groups to say like there's some kind of event happening and people are coming in and they're coming in groups, and there's a group of 3 people that are looking out outside to make sure there's no trouble.
Exactly.
And this is all very obvious.
Yep.
Well, it's obvious if you're a private eye.
And those of you who have been inside the shop knows that there's no way the shop holds that many people.
Yeah, there's just. Okay, so we're going to the Cotton Club.
Okay.
I slowed down so Luther can join us, so we can exchange notes before we get there.
Okay.
And I slow down significantly because he's with Miss Collins and she does not move fast.
Perfect.
Especially now
Luther.
when she looks as shocked as she looks right now.
Luther, we're gonna have to try another night.
Or
Luther, I do not have enough bullets in my gun.
they're going to be going somewhere. They won't
Yeah.
fit in that building. Got to be a
Well-
tunnel or something.
Well, I know that there's a trap door that leads down. You're still gonna run into all of them.
If they're not there when we go to the shop, we're not going to run into anyone.
There are 3 lookouts outside.
Three's bearable.
Yeah, no, because dealing with the 3 makes noise. Making noise means
Salvatore
12 others
and
come out.
Guerrero.
Yes, but if you make noise with 3, the 12 others come out, and now we are distinctly at a disadvantage. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying not at the moment.
All right. Well, I might have to stake it out for a bit. And apologies, Miss Collins. I was just making sure we weren't spotted. You could slap me if you'd like.
Why would she slap you?
I'm not slapping him. I'm
Roofing his drink and taking him home.
And I imagine that Luther's got like his arm in that little, you can hold his arm as we walk kind of thing, right?
and she
Crook.
does. And has her cane in her other hand.
Nice,
I'm
nice
not
polite gentleman.
I'm not going to hit him with my cane. Where are we going right now?
We're going to go to a bar, apparently.
Oh,
All right.
delightful.
The club.
Because that's what an escort should do, is take a lady to a bar after kissing her in an alleyway.
He kissed you?
I thought you were supposed to do that in the opposite order.
I'm terribly confused right now. But it's fine. Yes, let's
As
by
long
all
as you're
means.
safe, you're safe.
Take me to a den of iniquity. What could possibly go wrong?
You ended up kissing him. That's pretty
Sure,
Sure,
I'll
I'll have
find
a
out.
I'm sure I'll have a delightful time. It's certainly been an interesting day so far.
Don't worry, Miss Collins. I'll buy you a drink.
I would appreciate that. And then
Soon
maybe
you'll
I'll
be
buy you
dancing
one
the
back.
Charleston or something.
I don't think so. I would be
Chris.
far more likely to steal his gun so I could defend myself overnight,
Chris,
while a lot of you go off to do whatever it is you think you're going to do.
Yep.
so I'm a PI. I have staked out places before. I've been a detective. I've staked out places before. What other than the spot that those three winos had, is there another place that I can think of, considering that my character seeing locale, where I could comfortably look at that area to try to figure out what's going on? Or is it I have to be in that courtyard and that's it?
Well, there's the alley that leads up to the courtyard, which
So
is
I'd have
where,
to
but you do have
so
to be
that's
fairly close to get eyes on.
yeah, so I'd have to be in the cold alley in January after a snowstorm for hours.
Yep.
There's nothing like, unless I get an apartment above. Is there an area above that, like a fire
Th-
escape or a roof or?
there is the abandoned pawn shop right next door, and then there are like tenement apartments in the court around it.
Okay, I gotta think about.
All right. So yes. So in the meantime, the Cotton Club. It's warm. It's cozy. The music is thumping. There is good food, good booze. It is expensive, but you do have a couple of rich people.
Yeah, I'll pick up the tab.
Perfect. Right. And how long do you guys want to spend at the Cotton Club?
Do we assume that people have come back to us, or
Yeah, they will find you when they get back to the club.
okay? When they
We're
get
all
back.
together.
If you came back that fast, I assume it went well.
No,
Oh,
I'm willing to wait until I see somebody come through the door, but if that gets to be late, then I'll probably leave out of concern.
Really depends on your definition of well.
yeah.
20 minutes. We're back.
Yeah.
I was staying at the club for like 2 hours max before I checked up. But
We're back in like 20 minutes. It doesn't take a long time.
that's why I assume it went well. But you tell me it did not.
And that's with
There
Evelyn
is
hoveling in the snow.
there is some kind of gathering happening there. I don't know if it's tonight or every night. And they have lookouts, and there's at least 12 people that we saw go into the store.
Do you think it could be the cult?
Lookouts have a red bandana.
Oh, I am so bad at reading people. Oh. Okay. Well,
Now we're assuming that those lookouts are for that group, which is, I mean, that is my assumption, but it's entirely possible that those. You said they had red bandanas.
One of them did.
I mean, they could be staking out that place to slaughter the whole lot of them.
but the owner didn't know something about the cult.
I know.
Could I have been so lost that I just did not realize he was in the cult? Should we go get our police friend?
On what?
Right. I just assume that cult would be something illegal, but right.
I mean, the gathering itself is not illegal. It's what they do that is illegal.
Yes. Just assume. Yeah, I've skipped a few steps. People wearing the same accoutrement seems to be for me proof of culpability, but you're right. Mr. Poole could not help us much here.
Got a good point, Alvin. Though we don't know if those winos out front are guarding the place or if they're just waiting for everyone to show up.
If they could be stopped just as we are, they might want to investigate the shopkeeper, and they might be paused because suddenly 12 people showed up.
That would be great if we knew what they were saying and what's happening down there, but I don't know how we could.
No.
Well, you said 12 people?
Yeah, it's
And I
not
don't
big.
think they'd fit in that little shop, right?
No,
the pawn
no.
shop
I'm
was there.
thinking if we tell the cops, they're gonna think the Red Sash is it's another speakeasy in Harlem. It's the Red Sash is a sign that you're a member, you can get in and drink downstairs. maybe we
And
just
then-
beat up the 3 guards, torture them into telling us what we want to know.
Why? How did we get to
That's what I-
torture so
That's
fast?
what I was thinking.
I'm
I
from
don't
Mexico.
know. I'm a
How
bit
about
lost
this?
myself?
You guys enjoy the night. I'm gonna borrow this scarf. Sorry, Salvatore. And I am going to spend a cold few hours in an alley trying to figure out what's going on.
I mean, sending you out there if you get spotted would be quite dangerous for your life.
I mean, I can't sit in an alley with the 6 of us,
Definitely not, but
and it's my job to do this. I'm not going to be next to them on top of them. So I do have a head start in case I need to run. I just need to figure out when these people leave and if these winos are involved. Then we got to figure out, we come here today, we go here tomorrow night, and we see if the same thing happens, and we figure out when is the best time to try to get back in.
Or, well, they're down in the trapdoor.
If there is an opportunity, Luther, I will take it.
I'm with Volador. I say we beat up the 3 guards and go see what we can find out.
As much as I appreciate Volador's enthusiasm, the last time we went against 3 of them, one of us almost did not make it out alive.
Hmm.
Because I was using my fist. Now I have a knife.
Then people will end up dead, and now we no longer have self-defense on our side. And again, if they are in league with the 12 others, when we get into a fight and gunshots start going off and people start yelling because they've been disemboweled, then we are outnumbered significantly.
You have a point.
Look, I do this for a living. I look at people, I find places, I find things, and I figure stuff out. So give me a little bit of time here to figure out what's going on in this place. Come back. Nice amount of distance, nice amount of running room in case I need it. And talk about it tomorrow, or I'll talk about it tonight once I figure stuff out. And I'll tell you if we need to come back tomorrow. And push comes to shove, Luther. You can meet with the guy tomorrow when it opens.
You understand your track record hasn't been that good, right?
Look, I'm doing something right now.
As opposed to a couple nights
Doing
ago.
nothing.
Fine. Do it your way.
Enjoy the smokes. I'll be back. Chris, I hate to be that lone guy doing stuff, so we can like summarize it. I'm just gonna sit in that alley and see how long it takes for like if the 3 guys go in, if people start leaving, I'm gonna count how many people leave. And if I think that I've been spotted or anything, I am out of there in advance.
Okay.
It's pure reconnaissance.
All right. Give me a stealth roll.
The only one in the team with stealth.
All right. So you get into a good position where you can keep eyes on. And the 3 winos are still out front. And you watch for hours.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, you're dressed for it, so you don't need to worry about taking any damage. But by the time folks start to let out, it is well after midnight, and you are like chilled to the bone.
okay.
Um,
How many people leave? Now is the opportunity that I've been looking for.
about 30.
For the love of Christ.
They definitely did not all fit in there.
Do they look like clowns? No, okay, I'm joking.
Nope.
So and again, I'm using my detective's eye. My assumption is same description. Multiple ethnicities. They're not
Yep.
well to do. They look like blue collar guys, but like that middle class. The other question that I have is once they're all like, do I see Silas like he's like letting them all out one at a time and he closes up behind them?
They leave in groups.
Okay. They came in
Um,
groups, they leave in groups.
yeah.
Okay.
But you do not see Silas come out.
Do I see him at the door? Like,
Give me a spot hidden.
was he horribly sacrificed to the elder gods?
One could hope.
You do see Silas. You can see Silas through like one of the shop windows.
Okay.
So he is still inside. He's not like escorting everybody out or anything. He's still inside.
Okay. He's like, okay, so he's still inside. He's not opening the door for the groups. They're opening the door and getting out.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And finally, when the last people leave, I have two questions. My assumption is that Silas locks up. He doesn't leave, so I just need that confirmed. And two, my other question is, what happens to the winos? Do they spend the night overseeing this area, or do they leave as well once the people are gone?
They do not leave the area after the last people clear it. As a matter of fact, since you're watching it for so long, new winos take a shift.
But that's great. They don't recognize me, so I take that opportunity after the new winos take a shift to leave. And I'm going to go find something to warm my poor frozen fingers and soul.
Okay. But yes, after the last ones leave, like the lights in the shop go out, you assume Silas locked the door, then turn out the lights. And a second shift of guards takes over watching to relieve the ones that were there. But the same modus operandi, the same pretending to be drunk winos.
Okay. Do I, considering that they took a shift, like you said, do I have a vague idea of how long that shift would be?
They were there when when Luther and Evelyn were there, which was around 6:30, and
But they weren't there when the shop was open.
But they weren't there when the shop was open. So you would guess they probably settle in maybe for the night. So one group watches till midnight-ish, and then the other group came in around after midnight. So.
Okay, that's good. That's very useful.
But yeah, there was no sign of them during the day when you guys were there.
Great. I'm going to meet back at the hotel that we are staying at, not the fake hotel that we are staying at, the real hotel we're staying at.
Okay. Perfect.
And I'm assuming that everyone's asleep, or did everyone stay up like mother hens waiting for me?
That's a good question. What is everybody doing in the hours until midnight-ish?
Evelyn's ordering a drink.
I stayed at my spot to be seen and to hear if police siren could be heard in the area for quite a bit. I assume Mr. Sharp will not be coming in time, in the sense of I will not wait for him to come back. But
Okay.
I'm staying pretty late to make sure if something should happen, I could hear at least sirens or something.
Okay, perfect. All right. So is anybody doing anything of note during the evening, or?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, just hanging out at the Cotton Club.
Okay.
I'm going to hang out at the club, but I'm going to keep an eye out to see if there's anybody who's taking a notice of us in particular.
Okay.
I'm actually looking for people to take notice of me, especially pretty Hispanic ladies who would know who I am and be awestruck.
Perfect. All right. So Salvatore, you can give me a spot hidden roll. And how long are you guys staying till?
I'm going to stay until closing.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty much thinking the same thing, right? We're waiting for Alva to come back, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll wait. Yeah, we'll stay till Alvin comes back. I don't think the Cotton Club closed except for like 4 hours to clean.
It,
Look at this roll.
yeah, it does. It does not close.
Oh,
Oh,
I was thinking late, but I'm not that resilient.
Yeah.
Oh, one. Holy shit.
Perfect. All right.
4 bells.
Wow.
Okay. And Volador, you can give me a luck roll.
Just give me 1 second here. I'm trying to get back into family.
After Evelyn's done her drink, she's going to flip her glass over on the table.
by the way, Yorick, I
Having
don't
one
know
drink?
what you did.
Oh, wait for it. There's a reason she flipped her glass over. She's going to rest her fingers on the edge and lean over. Say, Luther. Luther.
Miss Collins.
Put your fingers on the edge of the glass.
Oh. Oh no.
I'll teach you how to use a Ouija board.
Oh no, I don't. That's a glass, not a.
It'll do as a planchette. I've used worse.
I don't think we want to use a Ouija board
Why?
because I don't know what that is, and it sounds bad.
Spirit boards aren't bad. They're just a way to speak to the dead.
Why would you want to speak to the? Miss
Why
Collins,
wouldn't
I
you?
think you maybe had enough.
I've had one, which is not nearly enough. I need at least two.
Motions for the waiter.
Okay. And the waiter comes over.
I know how to fix this.
Yes, sir.
2 more, please.
Of course.
It's on the guy in the mast.
Yes, that was my understanding.
And the good stuff too, please.
That is all we have, sir.
Sure. Not really my. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Show your freedom.
It's not like anyone would know.
We're
But
not.
whether or not it's the good stuff, I mean, people have been doing without for. I mean, people who don't know about places like this have been doing without. It's not like they'd know if it was good or not.
Everybody knows like places like this.
What do they have to compare it to? Another place like this.
The place like we were last at. This is much better than the last place.
Oh, yes, it's definitely better than the last place. I need to start keeping a list.
Yeah. Burgers at the last place and drinks here. I think it's the way it works.
Although, well, we do seem to be establishing a routine. Hamburgers and then drinks. Just a little unusual. But
And a little bit of breaking and entering.
tea in the afternoon. I've
Seems
had worse
excessive.
days. The tea, or his tea, because his tea was most definitely excessive. That entire apartment was excessive. Although I would love to take a look through his bookshelves. And maybe some of those piles of strange artifacts.
I kind of like the Cursed Morning Star, but
The what?
the Morning Star.
How did I miss a morning star?
Oh. A big thing with the ball with spikes on the end.
I know what a morning star is. I don't know how I managed
Sorry.
not to.
Apologies,
I
Miss Collins.
do.
I didn't mean to offend.
I do have a bit of an education. And a brother who is just as brothery as you could possibly imagine.
Well, enjoy your drink number 2, and then we'll make sure you get home in one piece.
That would be lovely. But,
I'm not touching your glass.
oh. How about you, Dr. Carter? Have you used a spirit board?
Well, I'm not familiar with this particular technique, but I am one for late night entertainment.
It's so very simple. And she will proceed to try badly to teach him how a spirit board works.
Give me an occult roll.
That's what I get for making drunken small talk.
I've already made the 90, so you should be all right.
This
Oh,
game kills you on its own, let alone trying to get it to kill you.
that's not how it works, Trevor. It doesn't matter what you roll. I will still roll poorly. Or maybe not.
That's still poorly.
No.
Well,
No.
maybe.
You
It's
start.
Oh, look, we actually did it.
She
Go,
took
Evelyn.
she took a cocktail glass and turned into the reanimator.
Alrighty.
Where's Jeffrey Coombs?
So, give me one sec here. So as you rest your hands on the glass, and it starts to move in Ouija board planchette type of fashion, and then it starts to move faster and faster.
Evelyn's going to start noting what letters are being tagged.
Right, and then Dr. Carter and Luther, you see Evelyn's eyes roll back in her head.
Uh-oh.
Evelyn, you feel yourself kind of pacing back and forth in a hotel room. Notes and papers spread out.
Oh, shit.
Bits and pieces about the Carlisle expedition.
Oh, shit. Uh-oh.
You kind of you notice the clock says it's about, not quite 7:30. You're kind of talking to yourself. You can only hear bits and pieces. Carlisle expedition, Seal, Pharaoh. You feel a sense of apprehension and dread. But then there's a knock at your door, and you feel this feeling of relief, like your friends are here. And you go and you open the door. But instead of your friends, there are 3 men. One of them strikes you, leaving you stunned. You regain consciousness to find yourself being held fast, while the third slices your forehead with a switchblade. You try to cry, but your voice is lost in a gag. The blood weeps from the cuts, running down your forehead. You kind of turn your head to see what the tormentors are doing. You see that one of them is holding a wickedly sharp machete, muttering in some strange language. You struggle as much as you can, but the knife raises up and comes down into your abdomen. The pain is unbearable, begging God to save you. The world goes dark. Give me a sanity roll.
Oh, shit.
So I feel like this is the part in the story where someone finds a book made of, human flesh and decides to read out of it because it's funny.
All right. So Evelyn, as you guys are watching, this planchette is just moving all over the place. It does not seem to be running on any particular letters or anything, just moving. And you can feel Evelyn's grip on that thing tightening and tightening until it shatters in her hand, and Evelyn, you snap out of it.
Suddenly, Bruce Campbell walks in.
Are her hands bleeding?
Minor cuts and scrapes, probably a point of damage.
Luther will go, grab her hand and see what he can do to fix it.
Oh.
Collins?
Well, I had heard about this, but I never thought I'd witness it. You're very perceptive.
I need to remember not to do this drinking.
Or do this at all. I'm not sure what happened, but your hand seems fine. Let me get that little piece of glass. This might sting. Oh, sorry.
It's
Yep.
nothing compared to. She'll kind of look at Luther for a minute, like she wants to say something, and then she'll just kind of pull her hand back and sort of sit back a bit in her chair.
Apparently, I can't roll today.
Socially blind Dr. Carter will say, I should have known this place was haunted.
I think I would like a glass of water, please.
I'll try to ale that for her.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Right. In the meantime, Volador, no luck finding anybody that recognizes you. Must be
Yeah, I
because,
got that.
it's probably because you changed masks.
That's mostly it. And you know,
That's what did it.
that's it. If I was wearing the Mexican colors, it would still work.
Okay. And Salvatore with 1 on the spot hidden. So just after midnight, probably closer to 12:30. Since you're specifically paying out, you do see a couple of people come in and they kind of talk to like the hostess and talk to some of the waiters, and people do kind of point out the members of your group. Specifically, they point out you and they point out Dr. Carter. And then the people that seem to be asking about you just they turn around and they kind of leave. Like kind of once they know that you're there, they leave.
Do they look familiar? Familiar, like I would have seen them either at the shop or somewhere else.
Make an intelligence roll. They don't really look that familiar now.
Okay.
But yeah, you just kind of see them. They kind of talk to the maitre d. Maitre d kind of points at you, points at Dr. Carter, and then they kind of like acknowledge that, kind of look in your direction, and then leave. It was a group of about 4.
Miss Collins, we should probably get back to the hotel.
I think I'd like that second drink first.
Well, I think we're fine. Miss Collins, please. Come on.
I really would like that second drink first.
All right, let's make it snappy, though.
Volador kind of storms back in a gruff, says, "Let's go back to the hotel. This place sucks."
Wait, who are you?
Carter here.
Yeah, Carter's here.
I'm gonna go up to Carter.
Everything's all right, my friend?
A group of 4 individuals just came in, and if they didn't directly ask about us two, they asked about our entire party, and the hostess pointed you and myself out, and those group of 4 people took a quick look and then promptly left.
Oh. They might validate that we're not snooping on them, or we might have friends waiting for us when we leave.
Possibly, I did not recognize any of them. Perhaps it is part of that group that Alvin was mentioning.
Should either prepare for such uh encounter, or try to find another way to leave. You got sharp eyes for those things.
Hmm. It helps that the alcohol has not blurred them yet for the evening. Well, I am all for a good fight. I don't know how many of us are out. How many of them are out there? I don't know the condition of our group. I think discretion is the better part of valor on this.
Well, I'd warn the other of the situation, but I'd try to ask the staff for a secondary exit, maybe. Should we should we leave earlier? Should we wait it out? I think we should expose this to the rest of the group. Maybe they have a better idea than I do.
Well, of course, we should tell everybody else.
I'm gonna try to get everyone in a bit closer so we can be heard together without speaking above the music so other people hear. Uh, Mr. Caputo spotted people asking for me and him. They were pointed to us, and they left. Either they were checking on our position or are waiting for us when we leave. I think we should, when we are ready to leave, I don't know if we should shorten or stay here, but when we are, I think we should maybe look for another exit or something. I'm not used to that kind of scuffle.
Miss Collins cut her hand. We're going to be leaving shortly.
Oh, you're right.
Small accident. It's fine.
No, I saw the demonstration. I did not notice the injury.
We'll sneak out the back. Probably meet up with Alvin. Probably went back to the hotel, I suppose. Maybe take a look and see what we could see on the way back.
I hate to leave him alone, but I don't want to blow his cover either.
Well, he distinctly told us to leave him alone, so.
Yes, that's why I'm gonna do it. Well, as soon as Miss Collins had a drink and is ready, I think we should try to find an escape route where we will not get attention.
Perfect. Yeah, a back door out of the Cotton Club is not a problem at all. They usually use it to move celebrities and want to avoid paparazzi and stuff. So no worries at all. You slip a couple of bills this way, that way, and you can easily leave.
I'm perfectly willing to bribe people.
But I will get everybody to give me a hard spot hidden roll.
Ooh, hard one.
By everyone, you mean everyone who's in the club, not someone who's in the cold right now.
Exactly.
Yes.
Alvin is safe and sound.
My fingers are going to
Chris?
fall off, but that's fine.
Yep.
Chris, before we do this roll, should we change that drop down from regular to hard, or does it not really matter?
If you do it, it'll just auto calculate it a little bit better, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
I couldn't even make that roll on easy level.
I made it. Polidor doesn't make a lot of rolls.
All right.
I made a couple of good snipe shots, though.
You and I seem to really be balancing our dice luck here.
And just as a reminder for folks, a hard difficulty means you need to roll half your skill or less, and an extreme difficulty means you need to roll a quarter of your skill or less. But as you guys make your way out the back door, not to the kitchen and into one of the alleys, and you start making your way towards your hotel. Volador, you notice that you are being followed.
When her drink finally came, Evelyn just tossed it right back.
So I'll just casually go up to the private detective and the Russian boxer, and say,
Alvin's not here. Alvin is safe
Okay.
and secure at the hotel.
"Oh, that's where I should be." So the private detective and the pilot say,
Alvin
"Might
is the
get a little
PI.
rough."
He's safe.
Salvatore is the Italian boxer. Russian.
Okay,
Ugh. What do you-
Italian. Sorry, Italian boxer. I was wondering why you said tiramisu. Yeah. Okay. So the boxer and the pilot says, things might get a little rough. We're being followed.
Okay.
How many people are
Good to
following
know.
us?
Looks like 2.
We definitely
And
should
there's
not.
what? 3 of us? 4 of us?
5.
5 of us?
We definitely should not. Leave
Maybe
them.
we should take a turn
How many
into a
drinks
dark
did you
alley
have?
and let's
We
make
de-
let's take a turn into a dark alley and let's fight this out. What do you say?
We definitely should not bring them back to the hotel. I gave them the wrong one, and I would not want my only good social thing to go to waste because we got followed to the other hotel.
I
So,
could go talk to them if you like.
I was thinking maybe we go into an alley and we all talk to them.
Oh, that kind of conversation. All right.
Go on record
Oh,
that they
Miss
tried to
Collins, you're
stay
gonna
out
love this
as
place.
well.
Mm. This is going to be a fight, isn't it?
I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
I feel that the people are going to talk with their hands.
I was going to, but now I have a knife.
I have the utmost confidence in you all.
All right, so you guys duck down an alley. Now, just so we're clear, part of the thing with Call of Cthulhu is before most skill rolls, you state a goal. Is your goal to try to ambush them, or is your goal to try to duck down to the dark alley and get away from them?
For me, it would be straight up ambush, isn't it?
I figured ambush.
I ambush and get the drop on would be good,
Okay.
as opposed to like just kill them. But like, hey, we got you.
There's 2 of them,
Either-
right? We want to leave one of them alive.
If they're gonna do the ambush thing, and I cannot just flee from that, probably get to a safe spot. Maybe help Miss Collins stay safe from the fight too.
Perfect. Yeah, that's it. Like if like the goal is for like the 3 of them to fall back and for Dr. Carter and Evelyn to continue forward, totally doable. I just want to know what the actual plan is.
Yeah, I'm not good.
Yeah, we don't know if these are cops or if they're. I know I'm talking like Alvin now, but we don't want to just stab them.
No,
We want to find out who they are before we stab them.
I
Said
want to
common
keep
sense
me
was
and
dead.
I want to keep me and Miss Collins safe while you figure that out.
Great. Luther's
I
the
like
voice of reason
the
now.
idea of being safe.
I mean, I said it. The worst thing that could happen to this campaign is when Luther becomes the one who was right because of paranoia telling us the right thing.
Okay.
When this happens, we do.
That said, I will pull my gun after we duck around the corner.
All right.
And I will pull my knife.
So I will get a group stealth roll. So whoever feels like tackling the roll, you can help the others get in. There's enough space between you and the people following you that one person can help others get into position. So one person can make a stealth roll with a bonus die.
Mine is
Nice.
only 20, so not me.
Mine's 20.
Mine's also 20. How about you two?
So very stealthy. No. My stealth is a 20.
I think the only stealthy one is the one who's not there.
Yorick, yours only a 20 as well.
That's how
My
stealthy he
plan,
is.
my plan, my roll.
Sure.
I'll take the blame,
Sure.
Yep.
and I get a bonus, right?
One bonus die because it's dark.
It's terrible.
Wow. 90 on both.
Oof. You can push the roll if you want to describe to me what you're doing that's risky that could help you.
I'm taking
Alright.
off my big fur jacket and putting it over. I'm gonna put it over. Let's put it over Evelyn and kind of hide her behind like a dumpster. Put some snow on, pack some snow onto it, so maybe they don't know she's there.
Okay. All right.
And how do I push this thing?
So the downside to pushing is if you're pushing, if you fail the pushed roll, if you succeed, excellent, you succeed. If you fail, though, things are worse than just a simple failure. It means that they have caught you completely unawares. They like saw you duck around the corner and they ran up and they are on top of you before you get a chance to do anything.
At best, we got a 1 in 5 chance at this. I don't think we should do that, guys.
I agree.
Yeah, so we're not going to push it.
All right. So as you guys kind of duck around the corner, they come around the corner. They do spot you hiding, and they will pull their knives.
Are they familiar looking names?
Very much so.
I shoot that cocksuckers.
All right, give me 1 sec here. Again, don't really have a battle map for this because we're not doing battle maps per se, but we'll drop some tokens on a map. One sec here.
And just go on record that we all thought that my plan was risky.
Apparently, it was going to the bar that was risky.
Apparently, sitting down and having a good time was the most dangerous part.
Give these cultists back their full hit points. Mark this guy's not dead.
Yeah.
Still losing some hit point from being stabbed. Not stabbed, but having a knife thrown at me last time.
All right, and Luther, you have a gun out.
I do.
I have a knife out.
It doesn't affect your initiative. Having a gun drawn gives you plus 50 to your initiative.
Oh, nice.
Huge bonus.
Luther, you are up first.
So these guys have drawn a knife, drawn knives in a dark alley.
They have, and they're starting to
That-
like move forward menacingly.
That sounds like attempted murder. So I'm going to shoot them. Once I remember how to do that. Combat.
Okay, so target the guy that you want to hit. Just mouse over him and press T.
The old T thing.
They are at base range.
I'm going to use multi-shot because I learned that from last time. No advantage, disadvantage. Can I aim?
Aiming takes your action, which means you will shoot on the next round.
Nope, not going to do that. shoot.
Okay. And then click your gun again. You can fire up to 3 times.
Why will you not shoot? There we go. Oh, that's not great.
Okay, so you fire off 3 shots in quick succession, connecting with nothing. That will take us to Dr. Carter.
Oh shoot. So violence has erupted.
Violence has erupted behind you.
Violence is definitely happening.
Is there any cover I can find?
Yeah, you're in a New York alley. There's like garbage cans and boxes and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. So I'm gonna take cover and I'm gonna try to grab something that I can throw at them.
Okay, make a luck roll.
Luck, luck, luck.
Perfect. Yeah, you find whatever it is you'd like to throw: heavy rock, trash can lid, whatever.
It's gonna be a broken down brick.
Perfect. Volador.
I'm going to engage with my knife.
All right.
Oh, I forgot to hit the teeth.
Yeah.
Go irregi. Click on hit.
Perfect. All right.
Knife. Fighting brawl.
Yep.
Yeah.
He will dodge.
Sounds like something he would do.
All right, there you go. Roll your damage.
Lack permission.
Do you lack permissions to roll damage?
Does lack permission to update chat?
Weird. I'll have to look into that. All right,
All right, you
I can roll the damage. Ooh, max damage. So yeah,
You
you slice him good. He remains conscious, but he is prone. Colm. Colm. Salvador just gutted his buddy, so
I guess I'm the winner.
you are the winner.
Wait, what did I just do? I didn't do anything.
Sorry, Volador. Right. That is a failure. You can choose to fight back if you would like, which means you will inflict damage if you're successful.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Can I use my knife to fight back?
Yep.
Look at that.
Ooh, a hard success. All right. So Volador charges. Knifes one, drops him to the ground. The other one tries to stab him, and he kind of like reverse handles the knife and into him. Both of the guys are now prone. Salvatore, you're up. They are both bleeding profusely.
I'm swearing constantly in Spanish.
Okay, I'm gonna go up to whichever one is the bigger of the two of them. I'm just gonna try to knock them unconscious with a punch.
All right. Perfect. Essentially, the guy that you if you attack Iregi, you get a bonus die because he's prone and a bonus die because he's outnumbered because he's been attacked for a second time.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, getting outnumbered in this game is bad.
So how do I add these bonuses? I just add +2 bonus dice?
Yep. Perfect. So how would you like to knock him unconscious?
I am going to just calmly, almost coldly, like machine, just like walk up to him, almost like, emotionless, and just go up to him and just give him a curse at him in Italian, and then just give him a straight right jab right to the jaw and knock him out.
All right. There we go. He's unconscious. Evelyn.
I'm guessing none of them is within like a foot and a half of me.
No, they're like probably 10, 15 feet away.
Has anyone on our side been injured?
Surprisingly, no.
Oh. Evelyn will stay where she is
Okay.
and try to remain very, very quiet.
It's kind of like Twilight 2000. You really want to hedge all the bets in your favor. Luther.
So the guy that's still conscious is prone.
He is.
Is prone while shooting a problem.
You would be at a penalty die. Unless
What if
you can walk
right up to him? I'm gonna walk right up to him and put my gun to his forehead and tell him not to move. If he does, I'm gonna shoot him.
Okay.
Just if he's like full zealot mode, I'm gonna shoot him. But
okay.
If he's reasonable.
Intimidation with a bonus die.
It better be a hell of a bonus die.
Okay. He curses at you. He says something in a language that you don't understand. And then he kind of translates to heavily accented English. And he's basically, my flesh will serve again. My spirit will return to the black wind. And then he bites his own tongue off and spits the blood at you.
I shoot him.
Okay. And give me a sanity roll.
Yay, sanity.
You lose 2 points of sanity.
Any left?
I'm up like 15 sanity since when I started. So
Good.
He's been getting better.
wow. But I started so very low.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. So yes, you guys watch Luther just execute one of these guys in cold blood. The other one is very unconscious from Salvatore, just putting his full body weight into a right cross.
Hey, Chris, I want to search the guy that I knocked out.
Okay. He's got like wallet, handful of bills. He's got like his sharp knife.
Well, so much for plausible deniability. Dang.
That's why we're in an alley. They attacked us first.
I'm taking his knife and his wallet.
Okay.
We're gonna look for ID. Anything on him? Search the bastard. The dead one.
He's got a wallet, but no ID.
Chris, do either of them look familiar to Evelyn?
Make a intelligence roll.
Can I make that roll too?
Sure can.
Sorry, does the guy when I'm searching him, does the guy that I'm
Sorry, what was that, Mark?
sorry, is the guy that I'm searching, does he look like he has that mark on him anywhere?
He does not. But as you search him, both you and Volador, as you search him, you do find in their pockets those headbands like the cultists wear.
I'll grab it.
And in the dark, and especially the one whose face has been blown off, he doesn't look familiar at all.
We gotta get back to the hotel.
Yes.
What do we do about
Please.
this mess? Do we want to try to question that one, pointing to the one who's still unconscious? What do we do?
Alador kind of looks over to the gun.
We were not able to interrogate the last one. Maybe this one we can? Or are they too far gone?
Your friend, your call. I don't mind. I don't mind cutting a throat in an alley.
Oh,
You guys head back to the hotel. I'll meet you there. I'll have a conversation with this guy.
All right.
I'd rather you weren't here after that.
I wipe my blade off in the snow, and I will put my hand over each the shoulder of my two of my companions, and I'll be very jolly and says, "Let's go get a drink at the hotel."
I don't want to know. Let's leave.
Dr. Lawrence, keep an eye on Miss Collins for me, please.
Yes.
Someone needs to stay here with him.
I'll be fine.
We should not leave anyone alone. I'm taking a piece of fabric and putting it over my mouth.
You might be fine against him, but what if he has more friends?
All right, Mr. Guerrero, please, you could stay behind.
Not a problem. Be my pleasure.
Thank you.
I don't want to know.
That's why he picked me.
Okay.
And as they exit the alleyway on the other side, like turn the corner, there's a bang.
That's a short conversation.
And Dr. Carter's gonna step up.
So much for wanting to talk to him.
I love
I
it.
was looking for a question, but I didn't have my hopes very high.
Evelyn just jumps when she hears the gun go off.
Oh, same.
My brother Tony, we're never this deadly when we play Dungeons.
Gone for a scene. You guys.
It's a darker time, man. It's a darker time.
You know, there's just like the kind of the silhouette, you know.
The flash, right?
Yeah. Black and white photography.
Yep.
Very Dick Tracy.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna take the. I'm taking red scarves though, or whatever they're called, bandanas.
The headbands? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll grab the dagger.
Okay, perfect.
2 daggers.
Perfect.
I'll leave one because one they both have knife wounds, so we want to make it look like it was a knife fight, despite the gunshot wounds.
The fact that they were both executed by a 38 revolver.
They brought knives to a gunfight.
Never bring a knife to a gunfight.
All right, so you guys get back to your hotel, safe and sound,
Quote unquote.
quote unquote. Is anybody
That was
else?
one of my-
Is anybody doing anything after they get back to the hotel, or is everybody just going to bed?
I think someone mentioned a drink.
Yeah, I'm going to the hotel bar.
The hotel does not have a bar.
Oh right. Okay, I will pull a bottle I'll pull that bottle of mezcal out from inside my coat. Pour some some glasses for anybody who would want one.
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Don't mind the worm.
Oh, it's the worm stuff. I don't care. Give it to me anyway.
Perfect. It's basically tequila with a little bit of hallucinogenics in it.
Yeah, tequila's nasty. Gross stuff.
I
Tequila's
imagine Luther sitting at the end of the table, looking at the exits, got his drink, but his eyes are wide, his face is pale. He's like, obviously, he's not an assassin, right? So he's a bit shooken up.
His best interpretation of one.
He's a soldier, but not an assassin. Different thing.
He can fake it for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, and Volador lived through the Mexican Revolution, which lasted decades, and just got over like 4 years ago.
So your whole life, right?
Well, I'm in my 50s at this point, or late 40s anyway. So he remembers better days, but his 20s, 30s, and 40s, late 20s, 30s, and early 40s would have been Mexican Revolution. People in the street getting shot and that sort of thing.
Evelyn's hands is shaking when she takes her drink.
So as everybody is sitting there, drinking, not really talking to one another, we will segue to the morning. I think it's a cool cinematic shot to kind of fade out as everybody's just like.
Shit.
But people do get some rest. Nothing untoward happens during the night.
When we rest, do we get 1 HP back?
Yeah, it'll happen automatically here in 1 sec.
Great.
And then, like the Hangover, we wake up and we have no clue what the fuck happened.
So when you wake up, assuming your standard 8 hours of sleep,
Ish.
I don't get a point back though, right? Because I'm wounded.
right? Yes.
Don't forget to roll for food and water, everybody.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, mezcal, it should be fine.
So as you guys are all kind of gathering for breakfast, and you can discuss what may have happened during the evening and so on and so forth. But the big thing today in the paper, not a real big thing, but an article that you find as you're looking for the paper for any big things. Two workers, found dead in Harlem. Execution style. Police suspect mob related business, basically. There's also a small note that the funeral for noted author Jackson Elias is happening today at Cypress Hill Cemetery in Brooklyn at 2 p.m.
Oh.
Huh.
I have to go to that.
Yeah. I'm just surprised nobody warned me. I mean, who would have?
I'll go to it.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Before we go, I have to share with you what I uncovered last night while you guys were drinking and frolicking and having fun.
Fun.
So there were about 30 people inside inside the Juju house. And the people outside, who we suspect to be part of that death cult, were defending it. So much so that they got relieved, and another shift of another set of drunkards came in around midnight and took over the watch. But that gives us an opportunity. One of two things. Obviously, it's going to be more difficult to get access to that ledger. Maybe it's something we can do during the day when we go and take a look, and maybe we can lift it off of him. But it also means that when one of those watches is over, we could follow one of those cultists back home where they are alone, and maybe we can get some answers.
And seem to have a lot of bodies. A pair of them tried to follow us home from the hunting club.
How'd you get rid of them? How'd you ditch them?
They won't be a problem.
Evelyn taps the paper.
And Luther doesn't look prideful from that. He's like looking at his feet when she taps the paper. Right?
Did Poole help you with that? So he said it was is he covering for you?
I don't think so.
You just left.
More or less.
As long as you didn't take anything, it's fine. They're probably going to think it's a mugging or something.
Mob related, it says here.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant to say they won't think it's a mugging or anything, and they might think it points to organized crime or whatever. As long as you just didn't take the wallets or anything like that.
No, we did
Yeah.
not.
Are you guys okay though?
We're fine-ish. But if they can post multiple shifts of guards and still have teams to follow people like us,
And
Yes.
30 members potentially in the house.
it's a lot of them. This is big.
I wonder, Chris, can I pick up the paper? I want to take a look at that article about the deaths in the paper.
Yep.
Does it explain, like they say mob related, that's the headline, but does it explain gruesome, or they look like they were slashed or anything like that, or are they really just glossing it over?
It's really just glossed over.
I-
It seems more like there was a murder, and any unsolved murder, the cops just kind of stick mob on it to try to, drum up support and funding to shut down speakeasies.
Fair. What exactly happened last time? Exactly, I mean.
We give them a more or less description of what happened.
Okay.
Someone came asking for us at the bar. They got pointed to us. I said we should avoid the main entrance. Try to dash and not be found, but when they were pointed to us, they just left. So I assumed they were waiting for us outside. And when we did leave, we asked for the back exit, and they got up to us, and we tried to dash through an alley to lose them, and the kerfuffle happened.
Things. First of all, they know who we are.
Two armed people followed us into an alley and didn't follow us out.
Yeah,
Well-
but before that, it means they asked for us by name.
That's correct.
Well, Salvador
And they knew-
said that they were asking. They didn't hear who they were asking for, but that the server pointed to specifically me and Salvador. two of us which were in the shop, the juju shop. So I think they had description of us from the juju shop.
They also knew to look for you at that club. Two, if this is getting glossed over, in this area, Chris, do I at all know what would be the nearest precinct that would have been tasked to investigate this?
That would be. It's okay. I can tell you exactly which precinct. It is Captain Robson's precinct.
The captain that we think is already corrupt from the other murder.
Correct.
Yeah, I was hoping that link was there, so I call that out.
Yep.
And that ties in to the cop we saw taking money from the juju shop. They're covering it up. They're covering anything that has to do with this cult up.
And makes me want to spend less time in New York City.
We gotta find out what's underneath that Juju Club before we go anywhere.
Well, we didn't see the lookouts in the morning when the juju shop is open, only when they come out at night. So
Weren't looking either. Maybe they're there. Who knows?
normally I'd go to the police with this, with what we have.
They don't have anything.
That's not true. If you're saying that they attacked you with the same kind of murder weapons that the other ones did, and we know that we're looking for one at large, that makes a connection between the two. It means that the police can investigate based on that evidence.
Their phones expired. Mexican.
That's enough to start
Except
investigating.
that we didn't report that crime.
That's the problem.
And I'm a foreign national.
Yeah.
I like to call you American adjacent.
Mexico is adjacent to America.
Yeah. It's a compliment.
Sure.
The law is not on our side right now.
I think when the people with the leech mouths showed up, I don't think law is really the most important thing.
The resources of the law enforcement of New York City is not on our side at the moment.
Valid.
They didn't have. Did they?
And the last ones. These ones seem more or less normal. Outside of in killing people and
That means that
carving
ledger is doubly
symbols.
important because that ledger contains the names of who got some of these knives, swords. What are we calling them? Are they knives? They're too big to be knives.
Machetes.
They're basically a machete.
Dr. Carter probably has an exact name for that. Probably going to be pedantic for a second.
He does.
He's going to use something old, though. He's going to say something like a kopesh or something.
It is called a penga.
Well, it's technically a panga, but we can say machete.
Okay. So these weapons, Silas has an inventory of. However, he said he's just the seller. The supplier is further up the chain. So they're coming in. Do we care how they're coming in from, or do we just care who he's giving them to?
They have armed guards on shifts outside his shop. He has weapons that match the ones that killed my friend, with blood on them, mounted to his wall. People with those same weapons are following us out of a speakeasy and trying to kill us. I think all leads go back to the Juju Club, right?
Clearly. And for the record, Volador now is carrying his 38 with him every day. All the time.
And outside of
Not
Miss
to.
Collins' little incident at the Cotton Club, I think that this particular Juju Club is the only lead we have, yes?
I think so.
Lead? What lead?
We know the people with the red sashes go into that club, go into that Juju club place.
Yeah.
That's not big enough to hold all of them.
Right.
They stay there for a few hours, then they come back out again. And there's armed guards and shifts outside that door who are wearing red sashes.
This is not a one-man thing. We are in a very awkward situation because if we ever walk into the judo shop, there could potentially be 30 people that come out of it. And we are definitively not 30 people.
Doesn't seem likely. It seems like, from your description, most of them are living everyday lives.
That's fine, but that means that those 30 people go somewhere. So if we start anything near that shop, we don't know how many are there at any given point in time. Even if we show up at opening time, we start counting heads as they come in and come out. I don't like there's living quarters there for at least Silas, and I don't know how many more.
Well, it's not 30. There's no way it fits that many people.
I counted 30 coming out.
That shop doesn't fit 30 people. We know this.
There is a trapdoor that leads underneath. I don't know what's there.
Sounds like a good place to start looking.
Yeah, if we could get there. But again, we don't have the authority of the police department. Nor can we just walk in because we don't know how many people are down there. Safely. We need evidence that needs to be so clear that even Captain Robertson can't brush it off.
You have a plan for this?
No.
Well, my plan was to stroll in, bar the door, open the trap door, and go see what the fuck's down there.
Mine was kind of similar to that, except bar the trapdoor so nobody could come up from underneath it. Well, you guys had a chat with Silas.
There you go. That's a good plan. Bar the outdoor, bar the bottom door, beat the guy up.
So what? So you beat him up. Let's go through see what happens. Okay, we'll do an exercise a thought exercise. You go in, you block the trap door, you beat up Silas, you kill Silas. Great. Now what?
We take the ledger.
And then what? We track down every single person who had a knife and kill them? We still have nothing to give to the cops that would be able to round them all up.
I don't think
If we
cops
assume
have
that-
anything to do with this.
And that's fine. And if you don't, you are now going on a single or a handful of people vigilante spree across New York, where then the cops do come in because then they're hunting us because we are killing off these people.
Well, we really only want to
What? Kill
get two
the
people,
head
right?
guy? What
We only want
we
two
get?
people, right? The one that got away and the one that ordered the hit.
And what about the rest of it? They can go off continuously murdering forever.
I only play a superhero
You need to
on
stop
TV.
the whole thing.
I only play a superhero in the movie.
Right. You need to stop the group. And you can't murder the group. There's too many of them.
I agree.
So I'm all ears as to say, how do we find
You're right.
how?
We can't. We cannot murder our way to this information. but the only information we're going to find is in that shop. Right?
We need a shop plan.
Right, but what is it? What is getting the information? Like getting that list of names, does it help us today?
We don't know. We don't know what's in that shop. We don't know what's under that shop or through that shop or wherever the hell these 30 people go. We don't know.
I
Then
would
why
like to
don't we
share.
get?
Hold on. I would like to share some of this information that we've gathered with Poole, though. Like,
That makes sense. I like that.
letting him know where that place is.
I don't know how.
Letting him know we saw a cop leave there with counting his money, and letting him know that the red sash people are with the knives are there. Let's ignore all the parts about the murdering in the alley, and that was self-defense.
I thought it was self-defense. Yeah.
It was self-defense.
We'll just sick the police on them.
Well, again, Poole. It's not in Poole's jurisdiction, right? It's in a different police precinct, so they're going to have to hand off that information.
Right. So we tell him quietly, not on the record. That way, maybe he can organize his own crew, or maybe he has contacts in the Harlem precinct that he can call upon without having to.
Right, but
go
we
through the
know
drug
that the
people.
Harlem precinct has been bought off. We know that Captain Robertson is already fronting for that.
You can't buy off everybody. There's still going to be a good cop.
We don't even know what we're looking for.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just passing the information along. Again, redacted and not officially to Poole. So Poole, if we suddenly disappear, Poole knows who disappeared us.
I don't disagree with your plan. What I'm saying is that we need a next step. We can't just give this to Poole and it's over, because he's going to go through the official channels, and in my opinion, that's going to die. I think that we wait till night. We wait for that changeover of guard, where those 3 guards are then going to go home to their normal lives, the ones who are pretending to be winos. We find out where one of them lives, and then we can interrogate them and find out more what's going on.
I think that during that changeover, when we have the opportunity to get in, we get in, and then we have people like Ms. Collins and Dr. Lawrence take a look at what's actually in there. And these people know more than we do. And
So
we know there's stuff out there that's crazy, right?
So that door is never unguarded, right? It's not the 3 people leave, there's a 5-minute window and 3 people show up. No, there are 3 people that are there, 3 new people show up, and then the original 3 leave. They do not talk to each other.
I think that's something we can manage.
I think I'd like to visit Emerson Import to see if they have any information on this Mr. Silas, as they furnish him with materials. I'd also like to be at the funeral of Mr. Elias. I do not disagree with the need to know what's happening down there. I just don't know how to approach this part. I can help with the research and I can help with trying to find pertinent things, but this place frightens me, I must admit. And I do think we still have path that we need to explore, but they will be looking for us and they will be checking on us. If we do go to the funeral, they might be checking on who's present at that moment. So we might need to be prepared for that.
They absolutely will.
And I do not disagree with the fact that we need to check this ledger, this place in a way or another. But I also think that checking on Emerson Import and on those ceremony might be informative. Other people who know Elias might have information for us. We still have leads. So don't act harshly, but I don't know how to tackle that juju place, I must admit.
My gut tells me that's where the answers are.
And just as a note, with 1920s travel time, you guys do not have enough time to, especially in winter, to get to Harlem to do anything and to make it back to Brooklyn for the funeral.
No, the Harlem thing will have to happen afterwards, besides.
Right. Although, could one of us stay in the hotel room?
What for?
In case they trash our place. I guess we don't have anything important here, do we?
Nothing for
How
them to
much
find.
of the upper hotel to see if they sent anyone to our room? The room I told them where we lived. I did tell Silas he could reach me at that hotel.
We have to go to the funeral.
Yeah, the funeral's the next step.
We need to see who shows up at that funeral.
Just
Besides, he's my friend. I need to be there.
I have to be at the funeral too. I feel guilty.
So tomorrow or today? Today?
Today at 2.
today.
Today.
We'll do the funeral, and then we'll make a plan for Juju Club.
Well, let's have breakfast. My fingers are still cold from last night.
Have you tried asking for a hot bath? Should help with the frostbite.
Oh, it's not frostbitten. I just bad circulation.
Okay. You
Is
still
that a
have
thing
it.
that we know about? Yeah, the 20s thing knew about bad circulation. Okay.
Tried at 5,000 feet.
That
Okay,
sounds
Chris.
terrible.
Okay.
I think we're agreeing to have breakfast, and the next major thing is going to be
The funeral.
the funeral while we think of some kind of a plan, because
For sure.
it's too big for us, and yet no one we know will handle it. I think we're going to go to pool afterwards. But
Yep.
that's just me.
All right. So a hearty breakfast is had. Dr. Carter, when you check in with the Chelsea, they do tell you that the housekeeping found the door to room 408 ajar, and it looks like somebody had been in the room, but thankfully they didn't. You weren't there, so nothing untoward. But they wanted to, let you be informed.
Oh, nice. Dodge the bullet.
Thank you very much. Should I warn the police about this, Mr. Sharp?
I mean, we're in the building where a murder happened, and then somebody
No,
broke into a room.
we're not in the building where a murder happened.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I gave the address of the building where the murder happened so that I didn't get them at this door, and if they wanted to...
Well, that's what I'm saying. They broke into a building where the murder happened, where they thought we lived, right?
Yes.
Then yes, that part. I think the more and more it starts coming forward, I think Volador is not wrong. I think that we need to share some of this with people.
I mean...
And the hotel here, the hotel where the break-in happened, that is in Toll's jurisdiction, so he can investigate that, and that can lead him elsewhere.
And I gave this address only to Mr. Silas.
Yeah, it's clear now, right?
Yes, I mean it was clear before.
But it's
But
super
it's
clear.
a matter of proof that we can actually try to defend in front of the police.
Let's go to the funeral,
Yes.
and I think, Luther, what do you think? I'm leaning to giving this information to Detective Poole.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm 80% sure Pool will be there.
Well, he said
go
he didn't know him
see-
very well.
Let's go see who's at the funeral and go from there.
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking.
So we fast forward a few hours. You guys get dressed in your finest. Make your way to the funeral.
Switch to
It is a non-denominational service. Very, very sparse turnout. There's you guys. There's a couple of other gentlemen. One of whom, Luther, you recognize as Jonah Kensington. He was Elias's publisher.
What?
A couple of reporters. One of them is Rebecca that you guys met from the Times. That seems to be it. Not a big turnout at all. The funeral they start with Psalm 13, which is basically, it says, "How long wilt thou forgive me, O Lord? Forever how long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest mine enemy say, I have prevailed against him, and those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. But I have trusted in thy mercy, my heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. The only speaker is Jonah. And he offers you can tell from his voice that he was more than just a publisher with Elias. He was friends. Talks about how they started as copy boys at the New York Observer. Speaks of Elias's wanderlust and kind of gestures to the very few people who have shown up. Says that speaks, Elias didn't make many friends, but the friends that he had were steadfast through and through. I expect to get a telegram from him still asking for financing to covering expenses. Maybe, he's going to go to hell and interview Satan. That seems the sort of thing that he would do. But it's a very short ceremony. And then, Jonah and the other gentleman kind of, they will approach you, the two of them. And I have pictures. 1 sec.
Chris, my assumption here is that he's being buried.
He's laying in the mausoleum until the thaw, because it's January.
Okay.
So that is Jonah.
That's the publisher.
That is the publisher. And that is Carlton Ramsey, who introduces himself as Mr. Elias's personal attorney.
What are you guys is in the will?
He's like, funny you should mention that. You are all mentioned.
Are you for real?
This is not the place for jokes, Mr. And he kind of consults.
Sharp.
Yes. Mr. Sharp, Mr. Pratt, Miss Collins, Dr. Carter, Mr. Guerrero, and Mr. Caputo. I would appreciate it if you could make time in your schedules to meet me for the reading of the will. I can do so at whatever time is convenient for you.
Where was your office?
He'll give you a business card. His office is in Harlem.
Harlem.
That might be that clue we need to not have to raid the 30 strong fortress.
Yes, 124th Street and Lenox Avenue. I have scheduled the reading for the will on the afternoon, on Monday afternoon. But I understand that many of you have traveled from out of town, and if that's not convenient, I am, of course, at your disposal.
Monday is full.
What day is it today? Oh, hold on, let me look at the calendar.
Friday?
It's Saturday.
Saturday.
We could meet at your office now if you'd like. Get this over with.
I can, and he kind of looks over at Jonah, and Jonah nods. Says, certainly. Should be able to catch a car to the office and have all the paperwork and everything ready shortly. If you don't mind waiting a few minutes, of course.
Should be fine.
And he'll kind of like nod to Jonah. He's like, I'll be in touch regarding any financial affairs they need there, Mr. Kensington. It's like, no, please call me Jonah. Like, okay. So he heads off to go to his office to get things organized for you. And so Jonah will,
Jonah,
yes,
Mr. Kensington.
Jonah, please. Friends of Jackson's are friends of mine.
Well, we both know that Mr. Jackson, OIS, he sometimes got in trouble to be able to write his books.
Sometimes, yes.
We think obviously that he got in trouble writing his next book, but we were hoping or looking for some kind of meaning to all this, or something, some way we could help the police bring the culprits to justice. And we were wondering if he had given you any early manuscripts of what he was working on.
He did. He did pass several documents on to me. I have them at my office.
Could we take a chance and go through them, see if it makes sense, because with to help us find the one that got away?
None of you are writers, are you?
Not
No.
professionally.
Are you contemplating the possibility of finishing Mr. Elias' work?
No.
Perhaps one day I'll write a memoir, but not yet.
I want to ensure that you'll understand when you see the documents. I just want to make sure that Mr. Ramsey said that you were mentioned in the will, which means Elias did know you.
Yes, we did participate in some of his expedition. We were mentioned in some of his story, and
Right, you might recognize some of us from maybe some of the earlier edits. I know he edited most of us out there, but
Oh yes, the latest book, the one in South America.
yes.
Okay, I feel better then. Of course, come to my office when you have the opportunity, and I will have my secretary get the correspondence files for you,
Do you have a card?
and he'll pass you a card.
Fantastic. Thank you, and my condolences.
Mine as well.
if I may be so bold, did you speak with Elias recently?
No. The last I heard from him, middle of last month.
Okay.
He sent me a wire from London. Said he'd been in London for a few days. He dug up something, seen unbelievable things. I'll explain more at my office.
Okay. I have a few questions, but I think it would be more appropriate at your office.
And especially around, and he kind of gestures vaguely at the reporters.
Yes, indeed.
So contact my secretary when you have the opportunity, and drop by the office.
I
We will.
assume you open in the week.
I can make time.
Okay, perfect.
Right. And with that, with some new solid leads, we will call things there. Session where nobody died and only a little bit of sanity was lost.
Except some of us became
What?
murderers.
People
And
died, just not us.
I mean, I need to have made it it out of the possession, so that's not nothing.
Right. Perfect.
I
Go
I
ahead.
think in the non-powered game, this is the most spectacular one-round fight sequence I've ever had.
You got lucky with the like major wounds on both of those guys. Dropped them so that they could be finished off very easily.
And I think it was 19 points of damage in one round, wasn't it? Something
Yeah.
like that.
So, yeah, like the guy that Salvador took out had like 2 hit points left. So it's like, hey, how would you like to do this? All right,
Alvin is gone for 1 minute. 1 minute.
I'm just gonna leave your group, and we're gonna see what happens. Executes everyone they see. Okay, yep. Oh, they need babysitters.
Once I get a notebook, I'm going to write people's names, and when their names get written in the notebook, they will mysteriously die.
All right.
Oh, I need one of those books.
So, just before we sign off, everybody can go to their character sheet and go to the recover luck points.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay, I got some luck.
No luck for Luther. Apparently, killing people in cold blood is bad for luck.
Lost all your karma.
So, but you've got 71 already, so perfect. But we will pick up next week, probably with the reading of the will, since you guys were.
Yeah, that's great.
Sounds about right.
Hey, Chris, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Before the development stuff showed up, when I was looking at my sheet and it said I had 11 of 12 hit points, but in the dialogue it said I recovered 1. Did that automatically add, or did I have to add that myself?
It should automatically do it.
Okay, because so it says 11 out of 12 right now, so I don't know if that, because I don't remember if I was at 10 or 11, so I was wondering if it should have automatically did it itself. Oh, okay.
Yeah, perfect. There, I'll
I
add
should
it
get
on.
my major wound looked at soon.
Yeah. And that's part of the thing, right? Major wounds take like a week, so if you guys like go raring through things, major wounds stack up.
Yeah, I got lucky this time.
Yeah.
Guys, small announcement. Next week, I have my office Christmas party, which I need to go to, and it's in Toronto. So I will absolutely not be able to attend next week.
No worries. I'm sure they won't get into any trouble at all with you absent.
Yeah, obviously not.
Not if you take us to Toronto.
Yep.
When does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm doing my best. I'm just not.
Chris, sorry.
Perfect. But yeah, basically the way I've got this structured is Peru is like the tutorial level. New York is like the introductory scenario. So like, cultists raided your rooms, but they didn't like summon an unfathomable horror to come and destroy you.
That's a thing?
And absolutely. There's literally a spell called Summon Azathoth, and if you successfully cast it, you destroy the world. Like
hashtag campaign goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a spell we can use, right?
If you find the right book with it and decide to try it, absolutely yes.
We've been
Stop.
saving it for
Stop. Nobody ever read the book.
Nobody
Books are
read
bad.
books.
So yes.
Newspaper's good, books bad.
So New York is like a training ground. Like you guys have learned now to, that you really can't trust more than a handful of people.
Shoot first, ask questions later.
Oh yeah, I'm learning.
So what I'm hearing is if we burn if we burn the world, we burn all the books. So that's the only way to make things safe.
And somehow that's better.
And that is an option.
Somehow that's better.
But we will pick up next week with the reading of the will and probably the visit to the publisher.
Alrighty. We'll see you all next time. I gotta get to bed.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Take care.
We see.